In summer, I always leave the windows thrown wide open. Second floor, quiet courtyard. A little corner store to the left, a couple of trash bins to the right, and right under my windows, across the lane, 2 rows of garages. Past the garages, another few 3-story buildings and fields, all the way to the highway. It's a good place. Quiet, calm. Hardly any loud teenagers, the drunks you can count on one hand, and even those are oddly polite. They always say hello, pick up after themselves. Sometimes, some wino dozes off on the bench by our entrance, sleeps peacefully. No yelling, no fuss. Then the neighborhood's kindly aunties got into the habit of feeding the strays. It's not that I don't like animals. On the contrary, I love them. But a 20-strong pack didn't thrill anyone. Where they'd come from, who knows? Half had yellow ear tags. Those were calm, just noisy. The other half. First, the cats vanished from the neighborhood, as if they'd never existed. People stopped letting their house cats outside once they caught on. Then, the dog walkers with tiny pups vanished too, after the pack ate. Literally ate. A toy, Yorkie, leash, and all. After that, people carried their little dogs in their arms to the nearest flower bed, nervously scanning for the pack. Then, the pack gnawed on Ivanich, who was heading home late from his shift, good and drunk. I heard the leader bark, a massive, shaggy brute the size of a German shepherd, and the others picked it up in a dozen voices. They ringed Ivanich the way wolves do on those Discovery Channel shows. While I was still deciding how to scare the pack off, they knocked him down and started ragging him. Folks around here aren't indifferent. We rushed out, whatever we had in hand. Somebody with a shovel, somebody with a stun gun. The pack scattered. But after that, kids stopped playing in the yard. Just in case. As usual, the city administration ignored requests to remove the beasts. Come back when they've actually killed someone. So we lived like that until this summer. Like in the African bush. And then the strange began. I woke at 2 a.m. to a soul-splitting scream. A dog was shrieking. Given all we'd heard living side by side with a big pack, howls didn't surprise me anymore. What was strange was that only one dog was screaming. Usually, the whole pack raised its voices, and the entire neighborhood would be huffing and cursing, getting up to shut windows, because the concert could last till dawn. This time, nobody joined in. A minute later, a dead hush settled. I wouldn't have thought twice about it if the scream hadn't come again the next night. And if last night's dog had been a thin, high-pitched squeal, tonight it was a low, guttural bellow. Almost human. It was around 3 a.m, and again the cry died after a minute and didn't return. In the morning I ran into the pack by the trash bins. 3 small mutts were rummaging in the garbage, hysterically yapping over a chunk of rotten fish. Rest were sprawled on the grass, like they owned it. There were usually more of them at breakfast. I didn't take the idea of some nocturnal dog killer seriously. I hate killing of any sort, especially of wordless creatures who aren't to blame for being born in an alley. But I also understood that if the locals wanted to, they could have gotten rid of the pack long ago, quietly and calmly. It's just that people around here were soft-hearted. Even Ivanich, despite the bites on his arms and legs and the rabies shots, held no grudge. Out of boredom, I counted them. There were 7. 2 small ginger mutts, a skinny, shaggy gray dog, a black female with a little white spot, a dirty white leader, and a funny little tagged stray. That night, the scream came again. I killed the hall light and hurried to the window. The street lamp by the bins was flickering suspiciously, snatching long, fast shadows out of the dark. Right under my window the leader raced by, almost not touching the ground, huge, dirty white, unmistakable. And behind him, something else was running behind him. It was definitely not a dog. I caught that unknown thing in the corner of my eye for 1/100th of a second before the lamp died. but it was enough to make me jerk away from the glass and clap a hand over my mouth like some terrified housewife. Naturally, I blamed it on lack of sleep and a visual hallucination, the way any sensible person would. But the next night, after darkening the whole apartment in advance, I perched on the sill with a night vision camera I'd borrowed from work. Nothing interesting had happened to me in so long I couldn't deny myself the dubious thrill. But, alas, nothing out of the ordinary happened. Yeah, somewhere past the garages a dog howled again, but the street itself was empty. When I went to bed, I left the camera on the window, hoping it would at least catch whatever it was I thought I'd seen. If it showed up on camera, then it hadn't been in my head, and I was fine. If not, well, then I shouldn't put off a visit to a psychiatrist. My grandma always said my great-grandfather went violently insane. Bad genes. Gotta keep an eye on it. In the morning, I overslept for work. I grabbed the camera, shoved it into my backpack. No time, even for coffee. The new boss had been acting like a jerk, docking 1,000 rubles for a 1-minute delay. I didn't want to lose 1,000. So, forgetting my night hunt, I practically jogged to my garage. All day, they ran me ragged. No chance to sit down or grab a coffee. Only after official quitting time did I remember the camera. For the first 90 minutes of footage, absolutely nothing happened. Wind riffled the branches, pushed dust down the lane. And then, it flashed by for barely a moment. Lanky, hunched, with unnaturally long limb legs and a vile, stretched-out muzzle. You know, you live your whole life, binge some shows, run raids with the guys, do your quiet job, live in a peaceful neighborhood, and then bam. You walk into a real horror movie, Schrödinger's nightmare, that both exists and doesn't, because horror is usually somewhere else, up in Maine, on a space station, in a Romanian castle, in an abandoned industrial zone at the very least, not on Zapadnaya Street, house number 10, next to a flower bed with swans cut from old tires, painted a toxic neon pink. What is it? Where did it come from? Is it dangerous to people, or does it feed exclusively on dog meat? I didn't spend long wondering. Being a cautious sort, I shut every window and yanked the curtains closed. Then I called my best friend, Seryoga. Seri grumbled for a while that I'd pulled him away from an important raid, then laughed like a horse for 10 more minutes at my muddled story. Without interrupting his mockery, I took a screenshot and sent it to him. "What the heck is that, Tolyan?" he asked after a 2-minute pause. "You photoshopped this yourself? Got nothing better to do, man?" With a simple app and some choice words, I trimmed the clip and sent Seryoga a short video. "Gonna accuse me of editing now?" I asked, a bit smug. "Do I look like some half-baked prankster?" Because I'm not laughing. This thing runs under my window at night. It eats strays. There's an explanation for everything. Seryoga's a world-class buzzkill. But I could hear it in his voice. He was rattled. Maybe it's a dog. Sick or something. Who knows? "Right," I muttered. "A dog. Sure. That really friggin' looks like a dog. What I saw on screen looked least of all like a dog, unless you count 4 limbs and a long snout. If the video quality had been a bit better, and the thing a bit closer. Okay, don't freak, bro. I'll come over and we'll go find your whatever," Seri said. "I'll bring my old man sawed-off and be there in half an hour. Don't you dare." The thought of Seryoga walking the street at night with that thing around made cold sweat break out all over me. "Come tomorrow before dark and stay the night. We'll watch from the window." "Fine, okay." He agreed a little too easily. "I'm turning in anyway. Got work in the morning. See you tomorrow, Toli." I didn't go to bed. I couldn't. That long, wrong shape seemed to be in every corner. I tried to distract myself, but fear rose in sticky waves. I lived alone back then. I had no one to be ashamed of in my cowardice. So I locked myself in the bathroom and piled blankets and pillows inside. I sat there till 3 a.m., searching the internet for even vaguely similar cases and finding nothing. And I was just on the edge of sleep when I heard something scratching at the glass. You know, soft, insinuating, like it wanted to be let in. There was nowhere to run, no help to call. On my floor lived a family with 3 kids and a 100-year-old grandma. Call the police in the middle of the night because a branch is tapping the window? They wouldn't come. And if they did, and it did to them what it did to those mutts, the scrape came again. 4 more times. I lay in the tub clenching the porcelain, ice cold with animal terror. I even stopped breathing for a while. Something old and reptile-brained kicked in. Play dead. Don't breathe. Don't move. And the predator will pass you by. Won't notice. Won't find you. A long time passed. As soon as it got light, I crawled into the kitchen, brewed myself disgustingly strong coffee, and rewatched the footage. Sadly, I wasn't insane. The thing was really there. But monsters are monsters, and a job is a job. As I left, I pulled the curtains wide to let the morning light in, and nearly screamed. On a branch 1/2 meter from my window hung a little yellow numbered clip, a stray dog's ear tag. I'd seen dozens of horror movies in my time and learned that spying on the unknown never ends well, especially when the unknown starts spying back. There was no way that tag could have gotten onto that twig. None. Even a magpie grabbing a shiny thing wouldn't skewer it onto a thin branch with jeweler's precision. Only Sari knew about the thing. And sure, hypothetically, he could have pranked me. But where would he get a stray's ear tag in the middle of the night? On my way to the garage, chewing on these thoughts, I glanced at the trash bins. The strays were gone. All of them. But by my garage lay a tuft of ginger fur, clotted with dried brown blood. The message was clear enough. If I were even a hair braver, I'd have dumped the footage online, rallied a mob of crazy monster hunters, maybe even started a paranormal blog. But hand on heart, I've always been a bit of a coward. I looked around, took out my phone, and very deliberately deleted the camera files, the screenshot, and the clip I'd sent Sarioga. I deleted it, I told the empty air, hoping it could hear me. I get it. I don't know what you are, but please leave me alone. Silence answered. That night, it came again. Sarioga didn't show. Urgent stuff, he said. And I couldn't blame him. I lied, badly, that the video was a joke, and of course, he believed me. That's what normal people do. They avoid the weird and the frightening. Invent any explanation, no matter how dumb, to soothe themselves that such things simply can't be. I locked myself in the bathroom again, wedged the door from inside with the washing machine. Second sleepless night, and not a trace of drowsiness. I listened to it scraping at the glass, steadier now, more insistent, and did the math on how much window bars would cost, and whether they would help if the unknown stopped scaring me and decided to act. I couldn't sit in the bathroom forever waiting to be eaten like those poor strays. So in the morning, I packed a bag, walked to the garage without looking around, got in the car, and drove 1,500 kilometers away from my city. For good. About 1,000 miles. 4 years have passed. I haven't spoken of it to anyone, not even to Sari. We lost touch after I moved. My wife has no idea why I bought a ground-floor apartment with heavy bars on the windows and why I flat-out refuse to take them off, or why every time dogs shriek at night, I drop the thick blinds and yank the curtains shut. She's convinced I'm afraid of dogs. I don't deny it. I really am terrified of dogs that scream in the night, because now I know exactly why they scream.